All right, now let's take this example to the next level. I'm going to modify the shape constructor and introduce a color parameter. We want every shape to have a color. So here we set this.color to color. Now with the current implementation, when we create a circle, we only pass the radius. So if we log C on the console, we can only see the radius property. There is no color here. But from an inheritance point of view, this circle object should have a color property, and that should be initialized at the time of creating a circle. How do we do this? Very easy. Here in the circle constructor, we should call the shape constructor. Now, one easy way to do this, which actually doesn't work, is like this. So we call shape, it's a function, right? We need to pass a color. So let's add the color parameter here and simply pass that to this shape function. Now, let's modify this line where we create a circle object and pass an argument for the color. Save the changes. Let's look at the circle. We don't have the color property. We only have the radius. Why didn't it work? Well, earlier I told you that when you use the new operator, three things happen. This new operator creates a new empty object and then sets this to point to that object. So here we set the radius property on that new object. And finally, that new object will be returned from this constructor, right? Also, I told you that if you don't use the new operator, this by default will point to the global object, which is window in the browser and global in Node. So the reason this didn't work is because, let me put this back here. Here we're calling the shape function, and by default, this in this function will point to the global object. So we didn't set the color property on the new instance of the circle object. We set it on the window object. Let's verify that. So window.color, look, it's red. So how do we fix this problem? We don't want to use the new operator here because this will create another new object and then set the color property on that object. We want to use the object that is referenced by this. So to fix this problem, we need to call the shape function and set this to point to the new instance of the circle object. Earlier I told you that every function in JavaScript is an object. So shape dot, this is the shape object with these properties and methods. You also learned about the call method. So we can call this shape function and look at the first argument of the call method, this arg. So the object to be used as the current object. Now here we can pass this, and this is the instance of the circle object. We're going to use the same instance here. All right. Now we pass our arguments. In this case, we want to pass the color argument, and this will solve the problem. Save the changes, back in the console. See, now our circle has two properties. So this is how you call the super constructor.